Hello! Welcome to today's video. So, if you're new here, my name is Gemma Wallace and I'm an actor. I've been doing this since I was like 15, 14, and I just wanted to go through today of different ways you can get into preparing for your character and just overall ideas of what can help you develop your characterization in the first initial steps of your prep. Of course, there's a million and one ways that you can do this, and you know, me personally, I think there's no one set way to do something. Every role is different, every project is different, but I just wanted to go through a couple bullet points of some main areas where you can start, get a few ideas of where you can start building your character from scratch. Now, of course, these are in no particular order, and I'm trying to keep it short and sweet for you, so of course I can go into more depth into each one of these, and there's so much more to explore, but I just wanted to list off little key areas that you can find and explore yourself. So yeah, here we go. So starting from my first bullet point is production background. Now this is just going to be very vague in the sense of everything and anything. You know, from the history or the era of the production and the role is from, where it's set, where it's based, location, all of these kind of fundamental things that make the project what it is, what the kind of world is about. This is a great place to start, just starting writing down some bullet points of where it is and why. Second one is character background. So specifically for your character, find out, you know, where they live, their family members, who their friends are, what they do for a career, what their interests, hobbies, all the kind of general things, first initial tick list, as you can say, of, you know, how to start discovering your character. A lot of this can be or should be found in the script or the play, whatever you're performing in. And I always find it's good to just write a little list, just shorthand of these little things, or even highlight them in your script or your book or whatever it is, just so it's easier to kind of get it out. For me, the key thing is to refer from the resources that is given to you for the production, because this is the best place to find all the fundamental things that they want you to know. But of course, for every role, as I said, it's different. Sometimes you get a lot of description for your character, sometimes you get nothing. I personally think it's okay if your character background is either from the actual text and history of your character, or it can be things that you've made up and developed for your character either by yourself or, you know, with other people and the people who are creating it. As long as it makes sense within your kind of whole arc and the journey of your character, I don't think it's too bad to make up stuff, because if anything, for me, that builds more layers and more ways for me to feel connected and, you know, at one with your character. Really, it makes it easier to portray it. That's what I'm trying to say. It gets easier to get into that zone. Figuring out whether it's fiction or non-fiction, because this can really help with your research for the character and the specific era and essentially what your character is based on. Because if it is based on a real person and it's true events that have happened to them, I find that more often than not it's easier to research on their specific moments in life and just about them, whether it's interviews, if they've wrote a book, if it's, you know, articles, videos, you name it. If it is based on someone, it can be a lot easier to delve deeper into finding out stuff about them. Don't get me wrong, this can be a blessing and a curse, but it's a great place to kind of find a little bit more small details about them. If they have any specific kind of characterization traits or any personal traits or, like, you know, physical traits, it's a lot easier to kind of see it through videos and things like that. But if it's based on someone, it's always a great stepping stone of drawing assets from them as who they were as a person. And you can draw from real stories and facts about them, and you don't have to make up as much, which can be quite a bonus. But then again, if it's not based on someone and it's not a true story, it can also give you the creative freedom to develop your character however you fit that you want them to be, you know. So it does all depend on you as a person and how you like to approach your characterizations, but both ways has advantages and disadvantages in my personal opinion. But overall, for me, I like to kind of do a bit of both in the sense of having real stuff that's either been given to me and, you know, that they want to be projected and portrayed, but also things that makes it more deeper and development for me, getting into that kind of connection with the character, to have things that are made up that I feel is appropriate for that character and key kind of points that have made, you know, who they are as a person and why they've become that certain way, why they think that certain way. So yeah, for me it's nice to have a balance of both worlds, if it's possible, you know. Can't pick, you know, you can't be choosy. What you got? The language. Now, what I mean by this is typically how it is written. For example, it could be a classical piece, and obviously the text and the structure of the language is very different to modern speech. So doing a bit of research on the time and era that it's based on can really help with your characterization and developing it. You know, if there's any other languages that your character has to speak, whether you know it or you have to do a bit of research on it, or even any particular accents. You know, we don't always do the same accent, or we like to mix it up and have something that's more appropriate for the character. So spending a lot of time on the language, the text, how you speak is really important in my opinion, because it helps just fully embody the character overall and make it more realistic and also appropriate for the piece and the text, because I just think that's quite important. So for me, I always spend a lot of time working on the dialogue in the sense of, you know, inflections and tones, and you know, if there's an accent, it's really important to me. And of course it's all about practice, 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 especially if you're like me and I'm so paranoid that I think that I'm gonna butcher the, I just said the word, I'm so paranoid that I'm going to butcher the accent that I'm going to do, so I spend a lot of time on this just to make sure that I know it inside and out, especially if you get to improvise a little bit in the text, because I find for me, I can tell if I don't really know the accent very well, is if I start to improv, it starts blending into some other accents. It shows that it's not fully embodied and it's not just natural for me to not think about it, and I can think about other certain things and I have to think about the language. I just get a bit caught up. So that's a good test to know if you're actually, you know, really good at the accent. My next one is asking the production. Now what I mean by this is, if you're able to, of course this all depends on the project and the production, how much time you have, but more often than not in my case, I've been able to talk to the director, the writer, just generally people who are involved in the project who've created it, if there's anything specific that they want me to portray for the character, if there's any major traits or key points that they want to be seen and projected on the screen, I love to know that. It just helps me focus a lot more on, you know, what to research and what to really home in on, especially if you don't have a lot of time to develop your background. Having those kind of key points that they kind of want you to hit really helps me to not get overwhelmed by it all and just fixate on the most important things that they want. And then once I'm comfortable and happy with that, then you can start adding in your own things and feeling a lot more confident. As I've said, for me it's just all about feeling confident, and if I know what they want, it puts a lot more faith in going, okay, I know what they're not, and I'm not like second questioning what they might like and what they don't, because they've told me what they would love to see. Next one is getting on your feet. Now I've mentioned this before, because most of us who are actors, performers, we are quite physical and we like, you know, I learn better when I'm doing practical stuff and I'm literally involved in it. You know, I retain it a lot easier. So getting on my feet and trying to feel out different things for the character really helps me embody it a lot better. I've said that a few times, but it is kind of true. It makes me feel a lot more connected to the character, and especially if you have certain physical traits. Does your character have any specific injuries? Do they have a certain walk? Is their posture different? Also, if they're a specific age that is out of your age range, or if they have any physical traits, like physical kind of habits, if they're always like kind of curling their hair, are they always like rubbing their eyebrow? Little things like this, I think really help in developing your character. For yourself anyway. You know, just little things like this, whether it's specific in the script or you've chosen those traits for your character, is great, because it makes you feel, or it makes me feel, not as much that I'm just being Gemma performing, I'm also really considering that it's not me just doing my classic lean into the side because I know that's me just in my comfort zone. I want to make myself comfortable with the uncomfortable and just try new things. It always helps. So if I go, yeah, that doesn't work, doesn't look good, or it doesn't feel right, then maybe it's not right for the character in my eyes. So yeah, just get on your feet, just have a little play. If you have time, have a little play, walk around. How would they walk? How would they interact with certain things? How would their arms move? Do you know what I mean? It really can help with screen, stage, you name it. Maybe not a voiceover because you'll probably hit the mic, but yeah, I think it really helps with character development. And retaining the lines. It really does help with retaining lines if you're working on that side of it. But yeah, it's a good one. A little bit further down the line of the developing stage, but I feel it helps when you've got all your research and your ideas of how you want to portray the character. This is your time to play and just move around if you have the time to see how they move, just see who they are. My next one is talking to your fellow castmates. Now, of course, we don't always have the luxury of being able to talk to our fellow castmates, but I find in this current time, a lot of the read-throughs and the chemistry readings are online. As much as this can be a disadvantage in creating your connection and getting that chemistry, I personally find, especially a lot of projects at the moment, if I'm able to talk to the other cast members, I just want to find out what they've discovered and thought for their character, what their choices are. Getting a better understanding of what they're creating and what they want to do can sometimes help me in my decisions, or even make me think things that I haven't thought about and go, oh yeah, I never thought about that type of relationship with them. Of course, this doesn't work for everyone, and I do think there's a limit to it, but just having a little discussion, for me, it just makes me feel more comfortable, obviously, with the person that I don't know, get to know them a bit better, get to know how their mind works, and just overall how we're gonna work, how we're gonna work on screen together. And if you can have that creative freedom to try new things, or has to be structured. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's different. I find it really interesting figuring out who they are and what they think of their character, and it can, yeah, and sometimes it can give really good ideas for things I haven't thought about, as I said, and explore the character a lot more. And don't get me wrong, often or not, I will miss things in the script because obviously I can't read very well, I can't read good, but it's always nice to see their interpretation of the script, or particularly my character. It's really interesting to see their perspective on it as well, in my opinion. And it also just helps sometimes to discover if you have any similarities with the other character, or just to figure out their intentions and their actions for their character can really reflect on how mine will be. So yeah, it's a good place to start. But don't worry if you don't have this luxury. You don't always have, to be fair, you barely ever have this. Most of the time you meet the actors on set if you don't have prior rehearsals. So don't be too worried about this. This is just an extra bit if you're able to do and you enjoy this sort of thing. Why not? My second to last one is mindset. So what I mean by this is I always find it helps me a lot more to feel more connected to my character, is if I am fully in their mindset, in their thought process, in the scene, or just them completely as a person, who they are in that current time and moment, and you know, what they're thinking. I'm always one to personally be always in my head, so to be able to have kind of memories and thought processes for my character can help me focus a lot more on them and who they are, and not me worrying about, you know, am I going to do a good performance and all that kind of self-doubt out the window. If I focus on specific points of time in their life that's made them, as I said, who they are, can really help me focus and just, yeah, focus on who they are and make me feel like I understand them a lot more and their actions and why they think a certain way that they do. Especially if you find that you can't relate to them. For example, if you're playing like a villain or a murderer, things like that. Majority of the time, I hope, you as a person, you obviously wouldn't have those thought processes and those actions and the intentions of doing those horrible things. But getting into the thought process of why they're doing it can really help you understand their actions and intentions. You know, for example, if the reason why they're doing it is because if they were brought up on that sort of thing, or they had trauma as a child and that was what they were taught to do, it makes sense why as an adult, or you know, however age, whatever age they are, why they do it, because they're like, well, I was told that's a good thing to do and I'm supposed to do that. So for me, it just helps me connect with the character and find those similarities within the characters, or overall just understanding why they do it. And it allows me to connect with the character a lot more, instead of having that kind of clash and divide on playing it, being like, I don't agree with it. It's understanding why they're doing it. a lot of the times actually with certain characters you may not agree with obviously their actions, but when you're portraying it, you need to be able to think like it and be in it. I'm waffling again. Why do I waffle? But yeah, understanding why they have those actions can help you relate in it. So the mindset is key. It's all getting in there, getting into your character. And my last one for today is music. Now I've gone over this many times before. If you're not sure, I'll leave the videos elsewhere. But in the process of developing my character and getting into the mindset of who I'm playing, music is a great way to do that, you know? If the production is giving you a specific playlist of themes and the genres and the style and tone of the piece, really helps me and I love that. But if they haven't, that's okay. I might just make up one of my own. If I have the time or I feel like it's so appropriate for my characterizations process and journey, or in my research I found a certain connection with certain style or era and time, I love it, because again, with me not overthinking and focusing on everything else, playing music helps me really focus on who I'm playing and getting into their mindset, as I've said. And especially if it's like specific points and like timelines or different moments in the script, you know? One day she might be feeling very happy, one day they might be feeling they're going for a really traumatic and intense scene. I find that having kind of set songs or rough collection of songs for each of those kind of emotions and journeys of their life in the script really helps me just kind of get into that scene a lot easier. And if I've had the time to prepare it at home and feel comfortable with listening to those songs, when I'm on set and in that environment of obviously wanting to perform better, having that comfort of knowing who they are when listening to the music really helps me kind of just zone out to everything else on set and get into the character a lot easier. And once you're in the moment and in the music, then you can start thinking about all the other things about the character, your thought process, what intentions, actions, anything about the scene, who the other person is. You can just start layering all the things that you've researched and developed for your character and just get yourself in there, get yourself worked up, whatever it is that you need to do in the scene. For me, having that music in the preparation stage and carrying it over to the performance stage helps me so much. Because yeah, I'm a bit of a flutter person. My thoughts are all over the place sometimes and I can never always get it out, so having that kind of calmingness to kind of chill out my excitement and nerves which turn into excitement really helps me. So yes, hopefully it can help you. Hopefully it can help you in your process. So that is everything for today, and I really hope you've enjoyed it and it's helped you get, you know, just a rough idea of where you could start when you're developing your character. Of course, there's so many other ways you can do it, which I will make in another video if you would like. If you would like to see this, give it a like, subscribe, all that jazzy jazz, because yeah, it really does help me and it just lets me know that you like this type of content. And yeah, I can make you another video of other areas. But if there's anything specific that you do and you know that people should know, if you know that people should know, if you think people should know, write in the comments. I'm sure it will help other people. I hope you enjoyed and you have a good day, evening, wherever you are, and take care. Bye. That was alright. Anything else?